From the land of lakes, this is 10,000 Takes. Brought to you by Minnesota Score Radio. Wally and Eric back for yet another week as we wrap up May. How about that?
Yes.
And we are ecstatic. You've tuned us in, and we've always got plenty of topics to get into. But we're going to start with the association, the NBA, because an old friend is going to be in that spotlight at the NBA Finals for the New York Knicks. Number 32, Karl Anthony Towns, who spent his formative years here in the Twin Cities, getting better and better at the game of basketball. And then, of course, the controversial trade a couple of years ago. And Cat is flourishing in New York City, and you can say that, in my opinion, the New York Knicks have won that deal because Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo, the guys they got in return, Dante's injured. We don't know about his future or when he's coming back. And Julius Randle might not be on the team next season. He's a good player, but he's not a superstar like Cat is. The Timberwolves whiffed on that deal.
Are you done?
I'm done. Well, not really. I'll say more. But
No.
He's going to the finals. David Ortiz.
Yeah.
Randy Moss. Kevin Garnett.
I'm going to call him. I'm going to call him right now. I've changed his name.
Yeah, the big one.
It's Karl Anthony Darnold.
Yep.
We just saw Sam Darnold win a Super Bowl with Seattle 1 year after playing for the Vikings. And, of course, the Vikings had a chance to re-sign him. And I don't think Karl Anthony Towns wanted to leave Minnesota. I think he was surprised by the trade. I heard Kendrick Perkins, who, of course, won a championship with the Boston Celtics a few years back with your guy, Kevin Garnett, call it. And I'm going to change the narrative on this. He said, if Karl Anthony Towns and the New York Knicks win the NBA title, okay, he's going to call it one of the worst trades in NBA history. I'm going one up. The fact that they've already gotten to the NBA Finals makes it one of the worst trades in NBA history. It just does. And like you said, I don't think that Dr. J, Julius Randle, I don't even know if he's going to be a Timberwolf next year. We don't know the health of Dante DiVincenzo coming off that injury. You know, hopefully he's back to 100% next year. And we don't know what's going to go on here in the offseason, obviously. But the fact that they traded away this guy who is now an integral part, and look, they have figured it out, and they have both coaches, both Tibbs last year and Mike Brown this year, have both talked Karl Anthony Towns into a position where he is playing number two to their guy, Jalen Brunson, and it has worked.
And let's not forget, let's circle back to what you said a couple minutes ago. Karl Anthony Towns did not want to leave Minnesota. He was invested in the Twin Cities.
Exactly.
He was part of the community. He went through some hard times during COVID. He lost his mom. We saw his father at all those playoff games, tossing T-shirts into the crowd at Target Center. I think the fans really enjoyed watching Cat play. And, yeah, it was a little up and down at times, but he still was a major producer. He could shoot the three ball. He could go down low on the block. Those kind of guys are rare.
Right.
And you need those guys, especially when there's a Wemby out there on the horizon with San Antonio. So I never understood the deal to begin with. By the way, it was Tim Conley, the $44 million man, the general manager, who orchestrated that trade. And, yeah, the Knicks are in the finals. They may win it. They're on a roll. They've been dominating teams in the East. And the Timberwolves just don't look good. And this is a Minnesota hallmark, to have somebody here and then they go somewhere else and thrive and win a title. And you brought up Sam Darnold, and that still stings for Minnesota Viking fans. It cost Kwesi his job. Let's be blunt.
There's no question about that.
And so if Cat wins a title, there needs to be heat here in Minnesota brought down on the T-Wolves, and I don't care what their spin is.
No, well, I say the heat should be on them right now because he's there. He has made it to the finals. And look, the other part about this is, as I said a little bit earlier, Karl Anthony Towns has fit into their system. Why couldn't they figure it out here in Minnesota? And I've heard this, well, if they had kept Cat, then they would have had to trade away Nas, or they would have had to let Nas go and not allow him to re-sign here. Okay, possibly. But what about Rudy Gobert? So did we choose Rudy Gobert over Karl Anthony Towns, or did we choose Nas over Karl Anthony Towns? If it's Rudy Gobert, okay, Defensive Player of the Year. But man, Rudy hasn't brought him a championship. I know they've gotten to the Western Conference Finals a couple of times, but until you get to the championship or win a championship, I don't want to hear it.
No, and the unfortunate thing for the Timberwolves is teams have windows. Their window's starting to shut.
No question.
And you can see where the bar is here, whether it's San Antonio or Oklahoma City coming out of the West. Those two teams are not going away. I can see them battling for the Western Conference title many more times down the road. So the Timberwolves have to figure out, we're a good team. They are a good team. They're fun to watch, but they're not an elite team. And they took a step back this year. They couldn't even get back to the Western Conference Finals. So the Timberwolves have some huge decisions to make this offseason. They may have to roll the dice again and go after somebody like Giannis or Kyrie Irving, because as they're currently constructed, they can't compete with San Antonio or OKC. I mean, look at this series with the Spurs this year. 4-2. San Antonio a year ago, OKC beat them 4-1. In the WC Finals.
And you keep bringing up OKC and San Antonio. They may not be as good as the New York Knicks. I'll just leave it at that. All right. We're going to talk some baseball next. Our guy, Al Newman, checking in.
All right. We are 10K Takes, your cat in the NBA Finals ticket.
Life moves fast, but when that Freddy's hits, you can't help but slow down. Freddy's, this is the good stuff. Try Freddy's new Molten Chocolate Cake Shake and spice it up with Mike's Hot Honey.
Stop by any one of Freddy's 6 Minnesota locations.
Seeing clearly matters. Being seen matters more. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
Let your adventure begin in Lakeville, Minnesota. We have over 90 places to grab a bite to eat, and we're close to the Mall of America, Valley Fair, and the Minnesota Zoo, plus hotel packages and great rates. Visit Lakeville. We're serious about fun all year round.
We are Minnesota Scores 10,000 Takes, and we're going to shift away from hoops and talk some baseball. Your Minnesota Twins actually... they went to Boston and swept the Red Sox in Fenway for the first time in forever. It was back in the 90s. I think Al Newman was still playing for the Twins back then.
Maybe.
Al, is that true? The former Twin and, of course, two-time world champion. I mean, it has been forever since the Twins go into Boston and sweep the Red Sox. That, of course, was last weekend, but still... a monumental, situation against a Red Sox team, to be fair, that's not very good this year. But at the same time, it's always good to get into Fenway and win baseball games.
True that, guys. First of all, hey, it's good to talk to you. It's been a while. Boston was always one of my favorite road trips just because I enjoyed taking that historical walk and the history of Fenway Park and all that. And it is a tough place to play. I mean, the angles are ridiculous. That left field wall was so inviting for a guy that only had one career home run. I always thought it was coming in Boston, but no, the Twins are playing better. And I wish them well. I just wish their younger players could be a little more consistent. That's what's holding up the progress more or less. Is the guys that they're counting on have got to grow for them to be able to add to the team. The guys have to produce, but they're doing well thus far this year.
Al, you mentioned Boston. You love going there. Certainly there's tremendous history at Fenway and around the city, the Paul Revere Trail, all that good stuff. What other road trips did you say, okay, I'm looking forward to going to this city, and I'm going to try to do this when I'm there, especially if we have an off day?
Right. I always liked Seattle. Seattle, I like the downtown area. You've seen the fish market and all of that on the football games where they throw the fish and the people catch it. But Kirby and I used to like eating right there off of the Puget Sound there, and the sights were just unbelievable. But, of course, Kansas City was one of the favorites just because everybody wanted barbecue when they went there, and that's a place to get it. But, some places the fans were more cordial. I like Boston because they respected good baseball. And at that time, we were known as a fundamental defensive team that could put the ball in play, do things. So St. Louis was a fun one. The one that I hate the most, guys, I disliked it. And from my time in Montreal and then with the Twins was Atlanta. That was the one ballpark that I hit my only home run in, but yet I didn't like that. I don't like going there.
Hank Aaron, where he made his mark for sure.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. The Twins, as we mentioned, going into Boston, and then before that even, I think that their bullpen has come around. And that's going to be key for them because, you don't know with the starting staff, especially with Pablo Lopez out for the year. You don't know what you're going to get, from one day to the next. But I think that they have really gotten some support from that bullpen recently that'll keep them in the race. If they can hang around 500, Al, that'll be key.
Oh, for sure. And we all know bullpens from year to year can wane. I mean, 91, you have to get 2 or 3 guys, but nowadays you have to get 4 or 5 guys and be able to rotate guys in, when you need to get a break or you need an extra guy on the staff. It is tough, but the Twins bullpen has shown well. Their starters, like you said, they had the setback with Lopez early. I think Ober is trying to get back on good ground, but they always have that one guy, Mr. Ryan, that seems to keep you in the game. And if you can get 2 or 3 starters going, and as you mentioned with that bullpen, it makes you competitive, especially in the Central.
All right, Al, this weekend, interleague matchup, Minnesota at Pittsburgh. Now, look, Major League Baseball is not like the NFL where you're trying to run through a brick wall and it's all about motivation. You have to be more day-to-day, as you know. But for Derek Shelton, he's going back to the Steel City. They kicked him to the curb last season. They said, you're done. Former Pirates manager. Does this mean more to Shelton? He's going to say no, but does it?
Oh, of course it does. I mean, every time, if you're a player and you go somewhere where they either release you or trade you, you use that as fire to help you play better or to motivate you. I'm sure he had some good formative years, those first 2 years, the excitement of being a manager. And then with that came expectations and it was time to move on. But yes, don't think it doesn't mean something. And I'm sure the players, the Minnesota Twins players want to play well to show that they may have lost a good manager.
Yeah. Byron Buxton is having the kind of year that I think many of us thought he was more than capable of having, even better, off to a better start than he did last year. How important is this guy? And I'm not a fan of him leading off. I'm sorry. He leads the league in solo home runs. We talk about all the home runs he's hit, and that's great. But I'm still not a fan of that. I would love to see him hit at minimum 2, but like 3 or 4 in that lineup. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, Wally. He's your best hitter, and sure, they're trying to say, well, if you hit him first, he gets more at-bats. Well, he's getting more at-bats with nobody on base, which is evident by all the solo home runs. But he's a number 3, 4 hitter. He does swing and miss a little bit, so that further says that he should be, to me, somewhere 3 or 4 and let his production pay off when he does make contact. And I'm just happy he's been healthy for the most part the last couple of years, and he's become that player, that franchise guy that the Twins have been looking for from the start of his career. And now, he's getting around that 30 age there where he's matured into the game, and he knows on a daily basis what each team is trying to do to him. So I like his growth. I really do.
Let's expand on this topic, too. I was in KC the other day. I saw the Yankees play the Royals at the K, and Aaron Judge is batting in the 2-hole for the Yankees. Shohei leads off a lot for the L.A. Dodgers. Do you like that? I mean, these are the 2 top power hitters in Major League Baseball.
Well, I like it only because they've got a lineup full of hitters.
Okay, fair enough.
The Dodgers can run 6. The Dodgers can run 6 deep, and then they get you at the bottom because by then you're worn out as a staff. You get to the number 8, 9 guys, and those guys are sucker punching you, and then you got Ohtani right there ready to do damage. So in Judge's case, maybe he should slide down a little bit because they're not as strong. But you know what? I guess there's something to be said about 1-0 in the first inning. And I know I enjoyed it when Jock Jones was there, but we had more capable type hitters in our lineup with Minkiewicz and Hunter and Koski and Kadire. See, when you got those kind of guys, okay, then maybe you can lead a guy off like that, but you've got to have the lineup to make it work.
Al, I know you mentioned that you only hit one home run in your career. On that same day, of course, all the thunder was taken away because Bob Horner hit 4 for the Atlanta Braves.
Yes, he did.
As you know. We just lost Bob Horner. Did you have any chance to meet him or know him as a player at all or as a person? Because he was a terrific player for the Braves.
Throughout college, we used to call him the Blonde Bomber. He's from Arizona, down in that area, and he was hitting home runs all the way through school. So the only time I ran across him was as an opponent, obviously in college, and then again that day in Atlanta when he hit 4 and I hit my only one. But it was impressive, I must say. He hit 3 off of Andy McGaffigan and the last one off of Jeff Rudin. So, he had a great day.
Al, this came out recently. Bob Nightingale, USA Today. We have him on the show a lot.
Good point.
Yeah, great guy, tremendous knowledge. MLB's going to expand. I think that is what Commissioner Rob Manfred wants to leave as his stamp on his way out. So there's 30 teams now. Nightingale seems to think Salt Lake City's a front runner. Portland's maybe in the mix. Nashville and, say, Vancouver, British Columbia. Pick 2. Which 2 would you love to have join the MLB?
Well, the first one I'd have to say Nashville. I think Nashville could definitely hold it. I was a third base coach under Phil Ruth in Salt Lake City. That would be my second choice just because I know it'd be a beautiful scenic place, but the ball really carries there. But those would be my 2 choices, Salt Lake City and Nashville.
Well, and I think the weather in Salt Lake City would be perfect for baseball. That's a great spot, yeah.
And a good point to jump off from Denver, Salt Lake to the West Coast on a trip.
Listen to this guy.
For sure.
Well, I'm talking about for the team.
Oh, I'm talking about you.
Well, me too.
Yeah. I thought it was always about you.
No, they're all really nice. That would fit in. That would fit in real well.
All right, Al. Great catching up with you, talking some baseball. We'll check back with you in the next month or so.
Okay, thank you, guys. Be good.
See you, Al.
Thank you. He is Al Newman, the former Minnesota Twin, of course, 2-time world champion in 87 and 91 with the Twins. Back with more here on 10,000 Takes. After this, stay with us.
Get in the game at St. Croix Casinos in Turtle Lake, Danbury, and Hertel, Wisconsin, your local destination for sports betting. Check out our sportsbook at St. Croix Casinos. From football and soccer to hockey and UFC, you can join the non-stop action. You'll find plenty of options to bet on with our cutting-edge Play Sports kiosks, whether placing live or prop wagers before tuning into the game. That's the book at Turtle Lake, the Red Zone at Danbury, and our sports betting kiosk at Hertel. Find your fortune at St. Croix Casinos.
In Lakeville, Minnesota, dozens of meeting venues are ready to host your next corporate event, banquet, and holiday party. Lakeville has unique conference facilities, a variety of hotels, an abundance of team-building options, and dining that are sure to impress. For suggestions that suit your needs, please call the Lakeville Convention and Visitors Bureau at 952-469-2020 or go to visitlakeville.org. Lakeville, we mean business.
Life moves pretty fast, but not at Freddy's. When that first bite hits, you can't help but slow down. The secret to quality time is just quality and time. That's Freddy's.
Mom, what's wrong with them?
That's called quality time. Don't stare.
Stop by any one of Freddy's 6 Minnesota locations.
I've been meaning to give you these for many years. I think they're perfect.
Maya?
Oh, I love your earring. Why didn't you try these?
It isn't just about vision. It's about care. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
Welcome back. Minnesota scores 10,000 takes. And boy, I tell you, the TV landscape in sports gets more and more challenging all the time. I know we heard Travis Kelce, the Kansas City Chiefs tight end, basically complain about it, saying some of the same things you and I have been saying, that, look, when the NFL decided to parse out some of these games to, Netflix on whatever day and Prime on Thursdays, and I think Netflix has, they get the Christmas Day game, and now they get the Thanksgiving Eve game. And I mean, it's just crazy. They're all over the map. And as you accurately point out, the only day they haven't touched yet is Tuesday, and that's coming to a television set near you soon.
Taco Tuesday, NFL, wait till they get a Taco Bell sponsor or something. That's going to happen.
Of course it is.
Yeah, I personally am only going to watch games this year on Sunday and Monday. I rarely watch Thursday anyways. I don't have streaming packages. I have no interest in Thursday night football. I'm not going to watch a Thanksgiving Eve game between Green Bay and the Los Angeles Rams and have to pay a Netflix, rate to get that. No, it's too much. Here's the problem. And by the way, the NFL they are determined to go to 18 games. So as a fan or a broadcaster, I don't like anything but Sunday and Monday. And Sundays used to be sacred. In the Midwest, you'd kick it off at noon, you'd have a big window. Then you'd have the later games, mostly in the Mountain Time Zone or out in the Pacific Zone, or sometimes the Vikings would get a later game if it was monumental. That's all going away. And I think it's chipping away and eroding some of the interest in the NFL. Now, the folks who run the league will say, no, that's not true. Our numbers are up, and we're getting paid a lot of money from these streaming platforms to air the games. You can't argue that. But I think the NFL is so laser-focused on profit, they're forgetting what made this league, and that's less is more. Sunday and Monday used to be special and sacred. That's no longer the case. And quite honestly, I think the sport's oversaturated. And what players and coaches, right? Creatures of habit. Yeah, they like knowing they play Sunday or Monday. That's all changed now. Your schedule has gone haywire.
Yeah, they don't want to play on Wednesdays and Thursdays and Friday. And Black Friday and Thanksgiving Eve Wednesday and Thanksgiving Thursday. And
they don't want to go to Melbourne, Australia to play a game. Look, anybody on the 49ers and Rams who wants to go to Australia can do it in the offseason.
They got the money.
Rumor has it they're compensated well.
They got the money and they got the time. Okay, so the NFL is leading the charge on this stuff, right? But they're not the only ones. I mean, they're far from the only ones guilty of this. I give NBC and the NBA and Major League Baseball credit for putting together a package where games are on every Sunday now. For the most part, over the air. Some of them are on Peacock, but most of them are on both, which I think makes the most sense. You have it on over the air, and then you have it on the streaming capability for those who want to stream it on Peacock. But the NBA, I heard Charles Barkley complaining about this. I think somebody in his family must have said to him, so you were on last night? Where were you on last night? Because I didn't see it. And that's because they're changing. I mean, one day they're on Prime, the next day they're on ABC, the next day they're on ESPN, the next day they're on NBC, the next day they're on Peacock. Who knows where you find these games? And don't forget Turner.
And yes, and so you have all these, you don't know where to find the games. Some you get for free, some you got to pay for. And then the start times. I mean, you have ridiculous start times in the first couple of rounds of the NHL and NBA playoffs. So you are not doing your fan base any favor by doing it this way. There just needs to be a new model for sports. Get away from just total greed. How about doing what makes sense?
Yeah, well, what makes sense to them is to make as much money as possible as quickly as possible.
Just a bunch of cash cows.
All right. Speaking of cash cows, we're going to cash in this show after the next segment. Takes of the day coming up next. We are 10,000.
Seeing clearly matters. Being seen matters more. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
Get in the game at St. Croix Casinos in Turtle Lake, Danbury, and Hertel, Wisconsin, your local destination for sports betting. Check out our sportsbook at St. Croix Casinos. From football and soccer to hockey and UFC, you can join the non-stop action. You'll find plenty of options to bet on with our cutting-edge Play Sports kiosks, whether placing live or prop wagers before tuning into the game. That's the book at Turtle Lake, the Red Zone at Danbury, and our sports betting kiosk at Hertel. Find your fortune at St. Croix Casinos.
Hey, get your sports fix by tuning in to 10K Takes. We cover all the Minnesota teams.
Vikings, Twins, Wild, Gophers, you name it. Fox 9 Plus and the Fox Local app.
In Lakeville, Minnesota, dozens of meeting venues are ready to host your next corporate event, banquet, and holiday party. Lakeville has unique conference facilities, a variety of hotels, an abundance of team-building options, and dining that are sure to impress. For suggestions that suit your needs, please call the Lakeville Convention and Visitors Bureau at 952-469-2020 or go to visitlakeville.org. Lakeville, we mean business.
10K Takes on television as we wrap up yet another episode. Big shout out to the viewers in Med City, the Twin Cities, the Twin Ports. Mm-hmm. They are eager to find out what your mood is. Happy, demanding,
delirious.
Depressed.
How about delirious?
Sarcastic, delirious, off the rails. What are you today?
I don't know if I'm off the rails. It might be a little goofy, but that's part of the deal. So the United Football League is wrapping up another season. The regular season ends this weekend. And then the playoffs launch on June 7th with the United Bowl being played in D.C. at Audi Stadium or Audi Field. I've never heard of that.
That's D.C. United's venue.
So they're playing in a soccer venue.
Smart move. They might fill it up.
Okay, well, especially if their squad is in it. The D.C. Defenders, who, by the way, are in the playoffs. They've clinched, as have the St. Louis Battlehawks. Well, where I'm going with all this, two things. One, by the way, these games are on all over-the-air free television. ABC and Fox carrying the semifinals, and then the championship game, the United Bowl, will be on ABC. All right. Where I'm going with all this is, hey, how about a team here in Minnesota? I mean, if they're going to get a championship in St. Louis for the Battlehawks, or in D.C. for the Defenders, or maybe in Louisville or Birmingham or one of those other crazy cities, why can't we have a football championship here? We've never had an NFL title. We won the National Football League before it was combined with the AFL. That doesn't count. We need a championship. Go get us a UFL franchise. I want one next season so we can celebrate a title here in less title town.
Okay, well, let's see. What does the mood meter say? Sarcastic Sam.
Sorry.
Well, you know, if the Twin Cities got one, there's no guarantee they're going to win the championship.
Well, that's true,
You're
too.
making a big leap there.
Well, there's only 8 teams in the league, so...
Oh, be like the PWHL.
PWHL is a great example. Yes.
All right. Well, my take of the day, let's talk soccer or the other football.
Okay.
World Cup is coming. There's going to be sites in Canada and Mexico, 11 cities in the U.S. hosting a combined 78 games. I was in Kansas City over the Memorial Day weekend, and they're getting ready at Arrowhead. That's one of the sites. So here's what I know. So if you're a soccer freak, you live here, and you're thinking, I want to at least see one match. The closest, at least by distance, is Kansas City. It's an easy drive down I-35. I'm hearing that the hotels, they've blocked out rooms. They want to gouge everybody. Well, these tickets aren't exactly going off the shelves quickly. They're dropping in value. The hotel rooms are probably going to go down. So if you're patient, you might be able to get a decent deal, go down and see a World Cup match at Arrowhead or maybe some other spot in the U.S., Canada, or Mexico. But FIFA's gouging is backfiring. Tourists aren't coming to the U.S. anymore for various reasons. So be patient, soccer fans. You might be able to name your price on a ticket and a hotel room.
Oh, there's some.
How about that? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good
advice
for soccer fandom. All right, we're going to say goodbye. This is 10K Takes, your sports ticket.